Hey, it's me. Here we are, more familiar settings. Um, I'm gonna talk for a little bit about the last few days. The last video I did, I was on the beach and I kind of hinted at some things, and I kind of was like, they shouldn't be talked about, but I don't know. You get clarity, you start to see things from other perspectives, and I just think that what I went through is something that we all find ourselves in, and there's a lesson to be learned always. So, you know, we all have like these sources of trauma, and mine is so funny because historically, uh, Merlin gets in trouble because he falls in love with this woman and he teaches her his magic and she uses it against him and traps his ass. Sometimes she traps his ass, sometimes she steals his powers, whatever. But so so funny that I've never talked about this before at all, but like going back, like one of the big sources of trauma in my life was a woman, and it was a situation where I was younger, I was naive, and it was a scenario where you just keep getting they get sent into your life, and it's one of those back and forth situations. It was so bad, it was so toxic. She would do these horrible things. There were so much emotional manipulation, things that she would just do to like wreck me emotionally, spiritually. And then it would calm down, we wouldn't speak, and then she would slither her way back into my life. Because I use slither, that's a word I'm using. There's a specificity to that, because after this weekend it's like, you're a fucking snake, man. So I'll get to that. But and she would always say the right things. Oh, I care about you, and I would fall for it again and again and again. And but this is what they're so good at doing. And at the time, she was an imbiber of particular substances, so that didn't help. And in the back of my head, despite all the shit, I really attributed a lot of that to said substance use. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I moved on. Like I left. I was living in a completely different city. I just like dropped everything and left. I didn't want to be around her anymore. I didn't want to be around that anymore. It was so toxic. It was just like, yeah. She was that kryptonite. She was all of that, and sometimes things would be like okay or really nice, and then just like they would just turn, and then next thing I know, she's got her fangs in me, and I can, you're paralyzed. Second snake reference. I know what I'm doing. And so I didn't speak to her for like about 6 or 7 years, and I cut off all communication. I was just like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm just gonna. And then some way or another, about 4 years ago, So hold on a second. So my time's wrong. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 2021 maybe. So we didn't speak for 5 years, and then in 2021 or 2022, one of those things, one of those dates, years, whatever. She managed to get in contact with me, and I think it was like through an old Facebook account. It wasn't. Definitely wasn't through like my number at the time or my old number that I still had. And lo and behold, I started talking to this serpentine seductress again. And, you know, of all the shit that I talk about, of all the shit that I've dealt with, I mean, and before, back when I was dealing with her, I hadn't, like, my quote spiritual journey hadn't really started yet. Hadn't really, I mean, obviously we're always dealing with this stuff, but like there comes that time where you're just like, boom, you're awake to it, and you start to see the world differently than you did, or you start to see it for what it really is, and then there's like the no going back moment. I still didn't, I was deep in the matrix back, when we were seeing each other. You have like insight or intuition about things, but I didn't, So now I've gone through all this stuff, and I start talking to her again, and it just starts like really simple. And of all the things that I've gone through, and just everything I've talked about, and, on this channel and all that stuff, I found myself falling into this pattern of communication with her. And I mean, all the right things are said. Like it was, oh, well, I don't, I don't do drugs anymore. I'm not that person anymore. It was the drugs. It was, like she's a mom now, and she's like just trying to take care of her kid, and and we were like texting and talking on the phone for like some couple of years. And then for some reason, in my stupid mind, I'm not going to say stupid, I'm not going to demean myself like that, I thought things could be different. I thought, okay, let's see where we're at now in our lives, because maybe she was in a dark place. We all find ourselves in dark places. I was like, let's go on a trip. So we plan out a trip, and we go to the beach, and it started fine. And then like the veneer started to crack, and then it just became, I started to realize, holy fuck, she's just always been this. Like, in video game vernacular, they talk about an op, like your opposition, your opponent in the game, and it's like, oh, you've always been an op. Okay, but it's like you find yourself wanting. I didn't want to be with her so bad. I didn't want, because like that wasn't there anymore. I just wanted to have a good weekend. I wanted to like think maybe we could be friends. You know what I'm saying? Whatever came from that, like, let's just be friends. You were in a bad place. I've been there. I really hope that you've changed. But it wasn't that. Like, it was so, the venom that was spewed, it's like a switch got turned on, and she just became this other person, or that person that she's always been, that person that I've known so well, that I just attributed to the drugs and just, all that stuff. No, it's who she was, it's who she is. And I found myself in a bad situation where I was essentially beholden to this, woman And I found myself, like Merlin, I found myself trapped because I'm in a faraway place and she's my only kind of, you know, which I should never let it be that. But there I was. And just the things she said, like, it was so, it was just dismissive and nasty. And for like 2 days, it was just her trying. Because I think I know what was happening. Like, she was trying to push me into a mode. Like, I had kind of gotten in a dark emotional mode, but I really think she was pushing me to something worse, because she would say and do things that was just like, Jesus, like you're pushing, like again, like we always talk about. She was just sitting there, like pushing for reaction, just triggers. There you go, like triggers all weekend long, just triggers. And she'd do one trigger, and it's so funny because they, like, these things get implanted in us, and we think that, like, we're in a different part in our life, and then, like, she did a thing that she did back in the day, and I found myself, like, it didn't fully work, but I could feel that part of myself being tugged on, and I didn't like it. It was such a violation, and so it just became this kind of battle of wills, because she would do things, and then I would just sit there, compose myself, and then just not take the bait. She'd do a thing, wouldn't take the bait, and that would just make her angrier and angrier and angrier. The most simplistic situations, like these, she was going to be that no matter what. And I think, and it got to the point where we just weren't, like, really speaking to each other. And I was kind of doing my own thing, and there's a situation that happened, and it was one of those, like, the fates trying to explain to you, hey, yeah, it's this is, so perfect scenario. I had been walking 12 minutes. That's good. I need to say this. I had been walking along the beach multiple times, as I did in the previous video. I was doing it in the daytime, and I would walk by myself. Walk, and oh my God, the storms that were happening in this place, like these unnatural, I don't know if it was because of just, like, something in the universe was broken because I was there. Talk about omens, man. I mean, the storms, they would come, like, it was like crazy. And it's funny because every time we get into a big argument, it would start storming. But it was like, I was walking on the beach, and I was by myself, and everything was fine, and I was taking pictures and just kind of soaking it up, because at the end of the day, that beach, like, saved me. If I hadn't had the support of, like, just good people in my life, but if I hadn't had that beach, man, to kind of, like, I really feel like take all that shit away, I don't know. But, it's there, it happened, I'm here, I'm talking to you, so that's all that matters. I was walking, and then, like, I see her kid playing. The kid, for the most part, I didn't want to, like, cut the kid off. Maybe I should have, because he was like an extension of her in a weird way. Not like he never did anything wrong. He just was a kid, and so he's there with her, and he's playing in the sand, and I kind of help. I start playing with him, and lo and behold, this storm starts rolling in, and she asked me, can I help her with the stuff? So I do, and then it starts getting closer and closer, lightning and all that stuff. And then it becomes a situation, well, I got to get the kid inside. I got to get the stuff inside, but I got to get the kid inside. She's back on the beach a little further out. She's got the umbrellas. And so I race back to the place we were staying, get the kid inside, get him like, a towel on, drop the stuff off. Then I head back out, meet her. It started to storm now. It's starting to rain. Then I meet her, and she is just spouting venom at me, just calling me every name under the book because I left her. How dare me leave her? And I'm like, I had to put the kid back. I had to get the kid out of the storm. Well, it shouldn't have taken that long. Just things like that, like you're damned no matter what. And I just think about that whole scenario, and it's just like, had I just been by myself and just did what I had been doing, I would have been inside, I would have been dry, and I would have been out of that. I stopped and I engaged and I got pulled into her web. And that's literally what it was the entire weekend. It was like just this web, and you're navigating a web, and she's there like a spider, just waiting for any type of vibration so she can come pounce. And luckily, yesterday, because we were supposed to leave out together, and it was supposed to be today, right now. And yesterday, strangely enough, a friend called. Not even a friend, she's like family. She's, sister, my best friend, and they are family. Like, she just called out of the blue, like, hey, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm not really in town right now. Well, where are you? I'm so-and-so. How are things going? Well, it's this. And without even, she was just like, do you want me to come get you? And she did. Like, it's like, for all the shit that went on this weekend, I learned so many things about me. I learned that this woman who was such a focal part of my life through trauma and through, just like, I learned that she was that way for a reason. I learned that it's always been a targeted situation. She was always targeting me. It was always a situation like she was trying to break me. And this situation was no different. She let time go by, and she tried to, our conversations were so perfect. And then, yeah, the web. Sorry, I lost the snake thing for a spider. I think maybe the spider's more accurate. She's a reptilian spider. A reptilian spider witch. Yeah, so, but I got good people looking out for me. I had somebody pulled me out of that situation, because had I stayed, it would have been worse. And here I am talking to you. This might be one of my longest videos in like a minute. Here I am talking to you. You got to use your intuition. And there were so many like little blips here and there before the trip even started. And had I followed that, and I'm always talking about, and I do follow my intuition, but sometimes we look away because we don't want to look. We want things to be like, fuck, can I just have this? No, it's a trap. It's a thing. It's something that's meant to break you down, to, and that's what this was. But I came out the other end. Like I said, it didn't get me. I walked through whatever the fuck that was, and yeah, I have a better understanding of things, and maybe in a deep way, it helped me like really put shit to bed, because like I will never, like, I'm done. I for like a second, I was really tempted to like kind of voice my feelings after I left, because there's always a thing where it's just like I would just kind of just sit on my hands metaphorically, because it's like, what do you say to anything you say becomes incendiary and it becomes used against you. It's like you say something, Molotov cocktail back in your face. So I was gonna say something, but I was like, nope, I'm done. I have no. I just want you out of my life. I don't want to invite that demon back, because shit, man, shit. Whatever the fuck she is, whatever the fuck is inside her, it does not like me. It never did. And I saw it, man. I saw it, and it was fucked. Anyway, and this video is the last time I'm going to talk about it. I think it's a kind of, I don't know, it's just weird, a lot of weird vibes going on right now, and so just be aware of things, take care of yourself, and use your intuition. If it doesn't feel right, it's because it's not right. Don't get caught up by the icing on the cake. If the cake is bad, if it's wrong, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you. Love you. Hope you're doing fine.